All right. I'm just enjoying some nice bubble tea, Toro flavor, as you guys can see. Welcome everyone to the El Toro La Liga show, and today, obviously, big things to talk about here in La Liga. Obviously, talking about the Copa del Rey that happened over midweek, and there are games going to be the same one next week. The semifinal is coming, but also La Liga. And a bit of the Segunda as well. So lots to get into today. Obviously, for anyone that's watching and in Spain, I hope you're enjoying the rain, just like how we're used to here in Galicia, the northwest of Spain. We are getting a lot of it. It didn't rain that much today, but you guys can see it's a bit nighttime. But big up to everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And we might as well we'll get started. As I said, please do hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you are new right here. And obviously, check out more of the content. But let's get started with first the Copa del Rey games that happened over this past few days in this first week of February. We had, obviously, the quarterfinals. We had one game on Tuesday, and that was sort of the big story of Albacete. Can they take down Barcelona? Unfortunately, they didn't. They were 2-0 down before Albacete scored their goal. So that meant that Barcelona made it to the next round of the competition. And then, so that actually means that there are no more Segunda teams. So now it's just La Liga teams left in the competition. You also had on both 2 games on Wednesday, and you have both Basque clubs, Athletic Club and Real Sociedad, winning away. I'm sorry, it spilled a little bit. That won away at Valencia and Alavés, also in the Basque country as well. So big results for both of those Basque teams, and you'll find out who they have in the semi-final. And last night we had Atletico Madrid going away at Betis and destroying Betis 5-0, which was a huge result, obviously. And obviously earlier today at around 1 o'clock here in Spain, they did do the draw, the sorteo of the semi-final. And this is what we come up. It's a 2-legged semi-final, home and away, with the final being on likely the 18th of April, which I am hoping to do a watch-along for when the time comes. I might do a watch-along for the semi-finals, potentially, as here are our semi-final. We have an all-Basque derby of Athletic taking on Real Sociedad, and then the other semi-final of Atletico Madrid against Barcelona. And both games, the first leg will be next week. So it's, the next time I do this show, we'll know the first leg results. And then, obviously, about 3 weeks later, we have the second leg, Barcelona hosting Athletic, and then Real Sociedad hosting Athletic at 9 o'clock, even though it says to be determined, but it is 9 o'clock. With the final, as I said, being on the 18th of April, most likely 18th or 19th, one of those weekends. But yeah, in terms of a prediction, I'm not going for. I could do first leg or second leg. I'll just do which 2 teams I think will make the the Copa del Rey final. I think it will be Barcelona. I will say Barcelona and Real Sociedad. I think it will be a Barcelona Real Sociedad final, which I think would be a pretty good final. I'll be honest. I just think that both teams having the second leg at home is a huge advantage for both teams. So I will predict that the final will be Barcelona and Real Sociedad in La Cartuja in Seville. And then now it is time for La Liga. Trying to sort things out. Here we go. But yeah, La Liga is, of course, back after a couple of the Rey games happened in midweek. With the first game here, as you guys can see, here is Celta Vigo taking on Osasuna. Obviously, the team lineups are out, as you guys can see. Celta are going for a 3-4-3, and then for Celta, and then Osasuna are going for a 4-2-3-1 formation. But yeah, ahead of the game that is going to happen in about 20 minutes. Win probability 48% for Celta Vigo win, 28% for draw, and 24% for an Osasuna win. As you guys can see, both it's literally 7th against 9th. If you guys remember a few episodes ago, I thought Osasuna would be in grave danger of potentially being a relegation battle, which they could if certain results don't go their way. They could drop down as low as like 14th, 15th. But yeah, obviously, I think it's going to be a tough game, this one, between Celta and Osasuna. Celta Vigo usually have a good record against Osasuna. Obviously, beat them last time around earlier in the season. But Osasuna have picked up a bit of form, where Celta haven't won in the last 2 games. Plus, not winning the final game of the Europa League, and obviously they have to play Park in about a week and a half. Like 2 weeks they play Park, if I'm not mistaken, more or less. So yeah, it's going to be a huge game for them when they do play. As for Osasuna, they are still struggling to score goals, but at least now you get to see Budimir's kind of getting back into form, the player that was there last season. I don't think either will get relegated, but in terms of a prediction for tonight's game, unfortunately, I do think the home team wins. A bit unfortunate. I'm going for a 3-1 win for Celta Vigo, unfortunately. 3-1 win for Celta is my prediction for the game in about 20 minutes. And then up next we have is Rayo Vallecano taking on Real Oviedo, as you guys can see. And obviously, big up to the chat. Big up to Dantrum. Hope you're doing well. Who do you think will make the Copa del Rey final? Obviously, I did the bit earlier. But yeah, for this game, Rayo Vallecano, 53% win probability, 27% for a draw, and 20% Oviedo win. For the very first time since like end of October, Oviedo actually won a game. And for the first time this season, Rayo Vallecano have dropped into the relegation zone, controversially losing to Real Madrid. But regardless, they are now in the relegation zone. Do I think they get relegated? I hope not. I prefer them to be in La Liga. But as for Oviedo, a win at home, finally. Actually, it was their first home win of the season since the end of August. That's how long it's been for Oviedo. So they finally got to enjoy a win. And if they were to pick up a win here, it would be a massive boost for them, especially against a team that's struggling. 3 losses in a row so far. Could make it 4 in a row, I'll be honest, because the form that Rayo Vallecano have shown is not great. However, Oviedo are one of the worst teams in terms of attack. I will say that. So it is going to be really difficult for them. I think this has to be a win for Rayo Vallecano. Obviously, actually, if you look, if they were to win and every result goes their way, they could jump as high as like even 11th or even 10th. I'll be honest. That's how much it is this relegation mid-table relegation battle in La Liga. So there's every possibility that they could still stay up and finish in the top half. But for Oviedo, they have to win this, I will say. Do I see a potential surprise? Potentially. I feel like no. I think Rayo Vallecano will get the edge. I think I'm going 2-1. I think Oviedo might score, but I think Rayo Vallecano will get the win. So I'm going 2-1, Rayo Vallecano. And then up next, this is probably the one, like the most one-sided game in La Liga, one of the most one-sided games in La Liga. And it's Barcelona taking on Mallorca. Win probability is 84% Barcelona, 10% for a draw, 6% for Mallorca win. As you can see, Barcelona, really good run of form, still top of La Liga, even though it's only by 1 point. They're still trying to get themselves back into the, to claim back-to-back La Liga titles. Could do a domestic treble, technically, just like last season. But can they actually do a potential sextuple by the end of this calendar year? We'll have to find out. But Barcelona, high scorers and usually beat Mallorca. Mallorca, however, did win 4-1 against Sevilla this past Monday. A 4-1 win, which was big for them. But I just think just the fact that this fixture is usually the most one-sided fixture in terms of Barcelona always beats Mallorca, as you can see with the win probability as well. I think this game earlier ended like 3-0 for Barcelona in the first game of the season, I believe. I just think Barcelona just has too much quality for Mallorca. So I'll go with a comfortable 2-0 win, especially given that Barcelona don't have to play the Champions League playoff games. So that's pretty good for them. So I'm going 2-0 Barcelona. And they will look ahead to that Athletic game on Thursday, I believe. It'll be on Thursday, so big one. And then next up, tomorrow as well, we have we have Sevilla taking on Girona, which is, once again, another, you could say, relegation battle, mid-table relegation battle. 45% Sevilla win, as you guys can see, and 28% for a draw, 27% for a Girona win. Obviously, Girona were on a good run of form until they lost to Oviedo, which I did predict in the last El Toro La Liga show. So big result for Girona. As for Sevilla, kind of got hammered by Mallorca this past Monday. So not a great result for them. Though, to be fair, if they were to win, they would go up to 9th, Sevilla. And the same will be said with Girona if they were to win as well. So it's a big game for both teams. I think both of them need to get themselves back into a little bit of a cushion from the relegation zone, considering that a lot of teams are trying to push into that sort of, get themselves away from that relegation zone. There will be one team that will drop down eventually. Who will it be? I don't know. But yeah, in terms of prediction, I just think Girona still have the better quality over Sevilla. So I'm going with an away win. I'm going 2-1 Girona. That'll be my prediction. 2-1 for Girona. And then up next we have here is Real Sociedad. They are taking on Elche in La Liga. Obviously, Real Sociedad on a good run of form actually now. 58% win probability for Sociedad, 24% for a draw, 18% for Elche win. Obviously, it's 8th against 13th, but Sociedad, they were almost winning against Athletic Club, the Basque derby, which isn't going to be the only Basque derby there will be, because they literally are going to play another one this coming Wednesday, I believe. So, yeah, at San Mamés, so it's not that far of a journey for them, obviously. So, yeah, look, when you think about it, they have a good run of a form for themselves. I think, they've haven't been beaten in La Liga since the turn of the year. They also beat Barcelona as well. So, yeah, I think they've probably been the most improved team in La Liga so far, from like the end of last year to this calendar year. Whereas Elche, they've been a bit struggling now. Haven't really picked up much wins since the really good start to the season. Now they're practically in the relegation battle, like they're only 2 points ahead of 18th place Vallecano. So, yeah, I just think that with the advantage that Real Sociedad have over Elche, and just the run of form they have right now, I think Sociedad could actually get a win here. I'll go maybe just a slim 1-0 win for Real Sociedad, even though Bryce Mendes is going to be suspended for this game. And then next up we have is Alavés. They are going to be taking on Getafe in La Liga. So obviously, as you guys can tell, Alavés have improved. You can see from the table here, 10th place, back-to-back wins. What a surprise. 40% Alavés win, 34% for a draw, and 26% for a Getafe win. As I said, Alavés, back-to-back wins, got themselves back into the potential spots, maybe, of not getting relegated, at least. Whereas Getafe, they are, I'll be honest, they are so boring to watch, and they have been terrible. I mean, they drew 0-0 against Celta Vigo at home last weekend, so they're not that great. Getafe, I think they could go down. I don't know why Bordalas is considered for a potential job somewhere else. I don't know why. It's not that good. But as you can see, Getafe not in a good run of form. They still haven't won as well in 2026. The last win was back in I think end of November, if I'm not mistaken. So they haven't won a game in more than 2 months. So, they're not in a good run of form. Whereas Alavés, back-to-back wins. Can they actually go 3 in a row? Which would be pretty impressive for them. And you know what? I'll back them. I'll back Alavés. So in terms of prediction, I'm going for I'll also go with a slim 1-0 win for Alavés. I think they can get the job done against Getafe. Get 3 wins in a row as well for them in La Liga, despite the loss at home against Sociedad in the Copa del Rey quarterfinal. So that'll be my prediction for that game. Whereas now we will focus on Athletic Club taking on Levante. Obviously, Athletic Club in a bit of a struggle, though they did get a result against Sociedad in the end. And they also progressed in the Copa del Rey, surprisingly, actually. 59% Athletic Club win, probability 24 for a draw, and only 17% Levante win. As you can see, Athletic Club kind of struggling still. They haven't really won a game in La Liga in quite a while. So not really good run of form. But now that they're out of the Champions League, maybe now they can focus on La Liga and the Copa del Rey, obviously. That could be a potential route into the Europa League, actually. So they have a possibility, Athletic, to get back-to-back Europe 3 times in a row, basically. So it's going to be a huge ask for Athletic, I will say that, to win the Copa del Rey. It's a really tough competition to win, but they did win it just 2 years ago with Levante in 19th place. But they've been okay in terms of like picking up results here and there, and they do have a game in hand, so that's probably going to help them. Um, and they got 0-0 against Atletico Madrid, so that was a good result for them. But yeah, in terms of prediction for this game, I could see Levante just getting a result again. Actually, at Athletic, I think Athletic have been struggling in La Liga. Should have beat maybe not beaten Sociedad, but maybe should have really take the game to them. I think Sociedad were probably the better team in the derby, and they play them again. They host them again on this coming Wednesday. So in terms of a prediction, I'm going to say a 1-1 draw in this one between Athletic and Levante. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw. As for a game that literally just happened, like last night, let me just have a bit of drink on my bubble tea. As you guys can see. Cheers. We have Atletico Madrid taking on Real Betis. This game ended 5-0 last night. Obviously, it was at Betis, so now it's at home for Atleti. I'll be honest, would it shock me if they win again 5-0? It would be embarrassing for Betis, I would be honest. Imagine losing 10-0 against the same opponent in like a space of 3 days. You know, it's just not good. Win probability, you might as well just say 100% Atletico Madrid. It says 66. Draw at 20%, 14 for Betis to win. Just say 100% Atleti. It's third against fifth, but 10 points separate the two sides. And look, I'll be honest, I just think Atleti will just have too much for them, just like last night. I'll be honest, I really don't see anything from this Betis team. Obviously, they could see what changes they can make. I'll be honest, they just don't look that good against them last night. And yeah, I you know what? I'll make the bookies mark. I'm going to say it ends 5-0 again. You know what? Why not? Probably one of the big predictions I'm making. I'm saying 5-0 Atletico Madrid again against Real Betis. That'll be my prediction. 5-0. I'm going with that again. That's going to be crazy. And the game on Sunday night we do have here is Valencia against Real Madrid. 18% win probability for Valencia, 21% for draw, and 61% for Real Madrid win. Obviously, this is a huge fixture in terms of like the past games and all that between the two sides. Real Madrid are on second, only a point behind Barcelona, who play Mallorca, as I said earlier. Whereas Valencia, they're just outside the relegation zone by a single point. But before their loss last weekend and losing in the Copa del Rey, they were winning back-to-back games, Valencia. So they definitely know how to get results to get themselves away from that relegation zone. And they usually perform in the second half of the season, it seems like now. Can they get a draw here? Maybe. I mean, this game obviously happened back in November at the Bernabeu, at the start of November, and now it's the start of February. I feel like this game, look, Real Madrid, they're not in the Copa del Rey, obviously Valencia as well. I just think that they have to put some focus on La Liga because, a single slip-up could cost Real Madrid, I'll be honest. So it's going to be a huge, huge task. I just feel like, can Valencia get a result here? Maybe. They usually do against Real Madrid at least once a season. So you know what? I might actually go for a draw. They weren't good against Rayo Vallecano. Obviously lost to Benfica and played Benfica again in the Champions League. Valencia at home. You know what? I'll go for a draw. I'll go for a big 2-2 draw is my prediction between Valencia and Real Madrid. 2-2. and that would help Barcelona for sure. Speaking of the rivals, sort of both of those sides I just talked about, the game on Monday, which I wouldn't be shocked if it somehow gets suspended or cancelled for the next few games. But it's Villarreal taking on Espanyol. In terms of win probability, 57% Villarreal win, 23% for a draw, and only 20% Espanyol win. Villarreal and Espanyol, I'll be honest, have been absolutely shit in 2020. Espanyol have not won a La Liga game since 2025, and we're in February. They've had a terrible, terrible, terrible run of form, like one of the worst runs of form. This current time, this 2026, one of the worst. But Villarreal aren't much better. Yeah, I know you can see like 4 or 5 games ago, won the games back to back, but terrible and shit in the Champions League. Haven't really done anything. Got 2-2 draw against Osasuna, which was a pretty okay result for them. But I'll be honest, I just think both teams are just going to stink it out. Absolutely going to stink it out. And I just feel like both teams just ain't that good now. This 2026, and might be caught up potentially if they don't improve their form. So I'll go with a draw. I'll go 1-1 between the two sides. I just think both are in very, very bad run of form. I'll be honest. So that's what I'm going with as a prediction. I just think that both of them just haven't been at it in 2026. Now, let me switch it up. And now it is time for the El Toro de la Semana, the best player of the week. Obviously, the week before it was Moriki. I'll go with the man in the title of this stream. It's Emilio Ruiz de Galarreta of Athletic Club. Scored a really good goal, I would say. For Athletic, also got them the result, and now we get to play them again against Sociedad. I mean, in the upcoming Copa del Rey game at home at San Mamés. So yeah, definitely going for him as the prediction, or not prediction, the El Toro de la Semana. That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, congrats to him. And now, obviously, it is time. Let me just sort something out to get all sorted. All right. Now it is time for the Segunda. Game week 24 just happened. Match day 24. But yeah, the results. You had Sociedad B 1-1 against Las Palmas. You had Burgos beating Leganes, and Leganes all playing right now against Granada. You had Albacete, before they play Barcelona, did win against Zaragoza. And then finally, Deportivo La Coruña, we finally won the game with a clean sheet. First time since November we've done that. A 1-0 win away at Cotoral Leonesa. Obviously, you can check out La Piña Rosa, the show that I usually do with Charlie, talking about Deportivo La Coruña and Palermo, usually on Mondays, and obviously, me talking about that game. With the game ahead that I'll talk about a bit soon, and obviously that usually happens on Monday, 9 p.m. here in Spain. We also had Cordoba beating Valladolid 3-1, Almeria 4, Ceuta 2. They had Eibar beating Sporting Gijón by a goal to 0. They had Castellón continuing the pretty good run of form, a 2-0 win against Andorra. And then Huesca 1, Cadiz 1. And then 2 surprise results, you could say. Granada beating Santander. Could have been Depor. It could have been Depor that did that, but Santander couldn't capitalize now, and we've caught up to them. Miranda's bottom of the league now. Miranda's 2-1 win against Malaga. Malaga were on a good run of form as well. They've won like literally every single game in the Segunda. So and they lost to the team bottom. As you guys can see, obviously right now the Gunners are beating Granada 1-0 heading into in the first half. Tomorrow you have Andorra taking on Sociedad B. You have Las Palmas taking on Burgos, so a big sort of little promotion matchup there. You have Zaragoza taking on Eibar. Zaragoza have to get a win, I'll be honest. Cadiz, Almeria, again, a promotion battle between the two Andalusian clubs. You have Valladolid taking on Castellon. And now, obviously, on Sunday, you have Deportivo La Coruña against Albacete. Big matchup, obviously, for Depo. I did predict, you guys can actually check it out. I'll let you guys find out. Of Deportivo taking on Albacete. What my prediction is, obviously, Albacete on Tuesday just lost to Barcelona, and now they travel to Deportivo. And then you have Ceuta taking on Cordoba as well at that same time. And later on, you have Sporting Gijón against Huesca. You have Malaga against Leonesa. Both teams trying to bounce back. And then you have Racing Club top. So you have first against last. Racing Club Santander taking on Mirandes. This game actually was a playoff semi-final back last season. And now, how the tables have turned. One of them is still, in a promotion battle. The other in the relegation zone at the bottom. That's how much and how costly it is. So right now, in terms of the top 6, as you can see, obviously the top 2 of the Segunda gets promoted into La Liga. So at the moment, it is still Santander and Castellon in the top 2, but it could change, literally. Deportivo, we're up to 3rd now. I think we started the week in 4th or 5th. And then you have Almeria, Las Palmas, and Malaga all behind us. And that is the current top 6. And then when you look here, you have Cordoba in 7th, literally by goal difference behind Malaga. Same thing with Burgos as well on 38 points. And then you have Sporting Gijón on 36. Ceuta on 35 points, so they've had a pretty impressive season. Cadiz on 34 points, but they've lost the last 3 games, so bad run of form for them. And then obviously Albacete winning 3 games in a row, even though they did just lose to Barcelona on Tuesday on 12. Leganes now with currently winning on 13 on 32 points. Eibar 31. Granada maybe they're getting themselves back into, I wouldn't say contention to get into La Liga playoffs or the Segunda playoffs, but maybe avoiding relegation, I would say. Andorra in 16th as well on 29 points. Probably the big surprise is Real Valladolid haven't been that good this season. They are in 17th, so not good. Huesca in 18th, and then the bottom 4 are the teams that at the moment could get relegated to Primera Ref, the 3rd tier, and that is Sociedad B, Leonesa, both of them on 25 points, and then just 3 points behind. So that's why I said Zaragoza have to beat Eibar this coming. I think the game's tomorrow. They're on 22 points in 21st, and then on 22nd place, the last place is Mirandes. But that win against Malaga could help them get themselves back in the hunt of surviving now. I think the story of their season, last season, is done, I'll be honest. Which is I'm not surprised with, I'll be honest. They should have been promoted to La Liga last season. That was a golden opportunity, and they didn't take it, unfortunately for them. So yeah, they're currently at the bottom of the Segunda, I would say that. But yeah, that is basically it for the El Toro La Liga show. Obviously talking about La Liga, the Copa del Rey that just happened, and the Segunda as well. And big up to Dan from earlier in the chat Not much people today, but oh well. But yeah, obviously it's been a good show. Obviously talking about uh, Spanish football overall. Um, don't have any plans in terms of watch longs or anything, but obviously looking forward to the games that will be coming up over the course of the next few days in La Liga, and obviously the Copa del Rey that will happen on Wednesday and Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. The first legs, the Basque Derby again, and then the Otro Clásico, the other classic, you can say, on Thursday, I believe. So big games coming up. And before I go, let me take a drink of this bubble tea. There you go. But yeah, been a good show. As I said, hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, right here. And I'll see you guys Monday afternoon for Year of the Bird, a special show actually. So yeah,